Welcome to the channel. I am back at the unit and I have lots of boxes, which means it is time to get modifying and doing some cool little things to this lovely little Mini. The first thing is car mats. Super simple. The car didn't come with any, which I just find mad. I've also got two little silicone discs with a little JCW emblem in there with a red ring. They just sit in the coffee cups. Perfect little addition for a couple of quid, and I don't think it looks too tacky. So my next task was to remove the day running bulb on the bottom of the bumper there, get a little bit whiter and brighter. Nice and easy, turn the wheel to the side and you can get to the cover, switching over the original filament bulb with a new LED piece. So that is those little side lights in the lower bumper piece done. 5 minutes, super easy, and they look way better now, nice and white. Just brings it up to a modern touch. Then it was onto the headlights. Pull the back cover off, twist the Osram bulb out, disconnect, refit into your new one, and then clip the headlight cover back on, nice and easy. And of course, I had to go and do the number plate lights as well. Nice little setup with a CAN bus resistor in there. Look at the difference. So both wiper arms haven't been off in a while, I don't think. They're stuck on there. I've put some lube on it. I can't really get anything around the back properly, pry bar wise, and I don't want to bend any of the arm brackets. So I'm gonna have to improvise. So that is the bulbs done, the wipers realigned, and now that's helped with my OCD and just allowing it to sit where it should be. Whilst we're on the subject of wiper blades, the rear has had a sneaky repair. It looked like it was lopsided, so pull up the cap, and sure enough, it is cracked along there. So let's get this one off and get a new one ordered up. Now let's get this trim piece off so we can peel off the red stripe from the bonnet. Let's hope the UV damage isn't bad and there isn't too much of an obvious difference between the paint underneath here and obviously the exposed paint here. Right, so the trim is off on the outside. I'll give that a little clean up before refitting that trim, but now it gives me access to the start of that red bonnet stripe just tucked underneath here. So I'm going to heat it up ever so slightly because it is cold and soaking wet at the moment. That may help with easing off this stripe, trying to get it off in almost one peel. So that is the first stripe off. I've cleaned off the residue from the stripes, the adhesive, and now that is looking a lot better. That paintwork, with the red gone now, you really do see a nice big wide area of that silver metallic popping. So once I've done a light cut on that bonnet and waxed it at a later date, this car will glisten. Next up is going to be removing the radio antenna and just getting a smaller one. I know to some people they won't even notice that, but for me, I just want a little stubby one there. Smaller isn't always better, but in this case it is. So this is what I'm really excited about, a blackout kit. So I've gone with the door handles, fuel cap, the front grille vents, some tape trim to go below the windows, and I'm going to test out some side repeater indicator covers as well to go all black as well. Also in the box I have the headlight and the tail light covers as well. And same again for the door handle covers, just a black plastic cover with adhesive tape in various places. Clean and dry your handle and then just line it up. It fits over the top pretty nicely. And then just a firm push to seat it in place. So looking at the side repeaters, the indicators on the side of the car, judging by these hooks, there's no actual screw, it's just a slide job by the looks of that. So let's give that a go and hopefully I don't break any tangs. Super easy, just slotted in, disconnected, and that's satisfying. smoke on smoke. So next up on the list is going to be the headlight trim cover. So I've gone for the lovely gloss black, which is going to replace the chrome rings on the bonnet. I have noticed something straight away, unfortunately, and that is that the headlight washer, which is this chrome bezel here, needs to go black also. I thought it probably would have come in the kit, but unfortunately it doesn't. So I am going to have to order them up because it will look silly with a black surround with the chrome inner. With the bonnet open, it just looks like a couple of clips all the way around the outside. And then this one here looks like it just slots in as well. So I'll have a go at pushing these clips out first and leaving that one till last because it looks like the whole assembly goes upwards there on that channel. So quite a difference between the chrome and the black. They look sweet. Loving the black inner with the black outer now against that silver paint. I just think it pops and makes quite a contrast. So here we have the kit contents of the mini GP2 style diffuser. Now I must say this isn't a genuine kit because they cost an arm and a leg. However, it is a very good copy. So that is one side of the diffuser. Some brackets that need to be bolted on underneath the car to allow this to all be fitted. Various bolts with washers and clips. And then here's the lower half as well. So that's the other side along with the centerpiece. And that's where your exhaust sits through. So this is some real Adrian Newey stuff, man. Formula One full aero stuff. So I need to unbolt this section because it's replacing that. Now the online instruction says to remove the whole bumper to aid installation. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'll try and get away with doing it on the floor. And then I'm guessing it just fixes to the OEM fittings that I guess are around here, dotted around. So the original exhaust splitter diffuser is off on the trims here, and then a little Torx bit holding that on the side there and on that side there. And then all of these are just little push clips all the way along the bumper. And then I just had one rusty old 8mm bolt. It looks like there should have been two, but one on that hanger there and one on the hanger there as well. So I've loosely fitted the bracket on the 13mm bolts out of the original exhaust silencer hanger bolts. So just taking them off one side at a time so you don't drop the old exhaust, and then slotting the new bracket up between the chassis and the mount. So there's one, and then also the other one here. In regards to fit though, being a copy, it fits really, really nicely, considering this is an 11-year-old car, so the bumper has had time to fluctuate and settle. That looks pretty damn decent. So next up is going to be these little gloss black trims that go around the rear tail lights. So the wiper blade arm is going to be a little bit more difficult. This little bit should be attached to the wiper arm. So this is my new one. As you can see, there's a pressed in piece. Well, they just crack and corrode. The plastic breaks. So this one I'm going to try and saw along down the edge and try and get it to break away. I don't have a lot of room to work with either because the glass is right there. So slow and steady on this one. So that worked nicely, just cut down the side and then it allowed it to pop off. Perfect, that is the new arm on. £8, absolute bargain. So there is one thing I have been putting off, and I am going to have a little look at it now, is the fact that the paint on the boot lid, unfortunately, on the left hand side and on the right, has started to come away and rust. Obviously this side is not as bad as this left hand side. Apparently it's pretty common where the trim is tight up against the paint and it compresses, and years of rattling and vibration, it chips away at the paint, and obviously the water gets in there and then causes it to rust. I'm going to try and put some rust cleaner remover onto the areas and then let that do its magic. Let's see then afterwards how successful I am with it, and then I'm just going to use a little touch-up stick. Ideally you'd want to go to a body shop, I think, and take all of this back to bare and then put a primer on it and then have it sprayed. But in terms of cost and reality, that's probably around about the size of a 5p piece, maybe slightly smaller. This side I can see a bit of rust underneath the paint, but like I say, I'll take this back, clean it up, and then hopefully treat that a little bit. Once I remove just the 4 T20 bits underneath, this whole assembly did come off, so that's nice and easy. And luckily the rust hasn't traveled too far down underneath the trim. Whilst I'm here, taking the plate off, get rid of all of this adhesive tape, clean it up nicely and fit a new plate as well at the same time. Now it's time to use some of this, a Hammerite rust gel remover. So it just says to literally dab it on, leave it for 15 to 20 minutes, and then see how you're doing. Repeat the process if you need to. So 20 minutes have gone by, and wow, I wasn't sure what to expect. It doesn't really seem to have done anything, so that could be a bit of a fail. I'm going to wipe it away and maybe agitate it, and I'll see if it like sort of crumbles away. So I've just agitated it with a little flat blade, and to be fair, it has come off really nice. You can see how shiny it is now. I am aware obviously there are rust patch bits everywhere, but if I can just treat this area here and stop it spreading outwards, then I'm happy enough with that. I'm not going to go with replacing the whole boot lid. I'm imagining probably 80% of them out there now have already got little bubbles appearing on them. Without going for a brand new tailgate or boot, it's just to make it look a little bit more presentable, really. I'm now going to apply a high build etch primer to it, just on the outside. I'm going to leave that for a good hour or so, and then I'll end up putting a little touch-up stick over the top. So it isn't perfect, but it's a lot better than what it was. But I'm happy with that. With the resources I've got, that's as good as it's going to get for me doing it myself. So the first stripe is off, the top main band. I've brought the car outside and left the lower thinner line on the car still, which also has the lovely little JCW emblem on the side door. Do I keep it with just one thin stripe on, or does it look silly? Have a look. Okay, I'm going full Monty. I'm going to take it off. I think it just kind of muddles the lines too much. You've got the big red roof, I've got the red mirror caps, so I think that looks alright. So there it is then. No stripes on the side, no badge on the front, and okay, it does look a lot cleaner. My original plan has worked, and I am loving it like that. So the next little enhancement is by a company called R56. They make this little 3D printed unit here, so that is going to stick onto there. And then you put a little bit onto the back of your phone, and it's basically just a magnet. That fits inside, and I'll show you where. So it basically fits just inside your CD player. So it kind of is made to have a little bit of resistance. But as simple as that. Easy as. Connecting it up now, spot on. And you can move it around, so you can have it central, but for me, I'll have it in slightly right. Then you can charge as well, and you're not going to hit your knuckles on it either, as it's above that. And it is super, super sturdy. That's not going to fall off either, which I was a little bit worried about, but that magnet is a decent strength there. So that is the small little bits and the visual side done for now. Now it's time to get on to some juicy stuff. Yeah. We have a set of coilovers for this car. So Facebook Marketplace has come up trump with these. £500, so they retail for about just over £1,000, still new, so decent saving. Thank you very much. You know who you are, who helped free up these collars. Without advice and your hard work, I would have been stuck, so thank you. So they are BC Racing coilovers, just like on the Volvo. So you have the adjustment obviously of the ride height. They have different spring rates that you can purchase, and then you have the lovely damping control, which is done from a nice little adjuster up on top of the unit. They also come with adjustable camber plates on the top, so with the Allen key adjustment on the top you can adjust the camber offset on this. I will just fit these to the car and then I will get an alignment because I do want quite a lot of camber in the front. However, that is not all of the goodies. Inside this box we have a sports cat. I am going to get the car MOT'd first before fitting this, just in case there's an issue with emissions. It has got a 200 cell cat in it, but I just don't want to risk fitting it now and then it not passing emissions. Online it doesn't say that they can guarantee, so I'm just not going to run that risk right now. And in the box below we have a front mount intercooler for this car as well. So this thing is going to have a nice stance, it's going to handle even better, it's going to sound slightly better with that downpipe. I'm not expecting loads, but just so it's a bit more free flowing. And it's now going to be able to have cooler charged air as well. So this should give it a few more horsepower. So to start with, I'm going to jack the car up, get the wheels off it, and then just give all the suspension components a little bit of a soak and leave them overnight before attempting to get the old suspension parts off this car. So the time lapse actually stopped, but anyway, it is now up on axle stands, all the wheels are off, and I've just gone round and sprayed areas that need to be lubricated, so just there, because that's going to slide out of that axle hopefully tomorrow. And along with just the drop links that I've had a soak in, uppers and lowers, in case I need to tackle either or. And then just like the bolts at the back of the hub there, and on the lower arms as well at the front. Hopefully it will come out okay, because it doesn't look to be too corroded, but we shall see, time will tell. So that is the first spring out of the rear. I've set the coilover about 30mm shorter than this one, and I'll just go from there. Once it's all bolted together, we'll drop it down, have a look at the arch gap, and then just adjust from there. On the rear of this Mini, it is so simple. 2 bolts at the top and literally the main bolt through the lower there. How simple is that? So that is the rear's done. I have set the damping to halfway on the adjustment scale. So I've measured the thread between the lower collar and the next one up, so the spacing of exposed thread, and I've matched it as best as I can both sides. So that is as good as I can get in terms of trying to get the ride height on the back the same. That front spring strut was not too bad. I was a little worried about the drop links, but they came off okay. And soaking the hub overnight was definitely worthwhile, because that just tapped out pretty damn easy actually. Just like the rears, I'm kind of lining them up, measuring from the underside of the top mount to the base, and then just working out how much shorter I want to start with. So on the refit, it's just a case of lifting up the hub. Now you got to get the angle of it right, otherwise it will catch. So it did take me a couple of attempts just to get that all lined up for it then to slot up smoothly. Once you're there, it's just a case of tightening up the pinch bolt on the back end and you're pretty much ready, good to go. So I've come to a little bit of a halt. Unfortunately, the drop links that come with the BC Racing coilovers, they're a little bit more sturdy, thicker options. And the thread type for the nut is an M10 by 1.25. So that's the pitch of the thread and the size of the thread basically. It looks like the older ones, or the original ones, are M10 by 1.5 or slightly larger, I don't know, but they're definitely a lot coarser. These are a lot more finer thread, so the original nuts for the drop links aren't going to fit. And guess what? I don't have any. So I'm going to have to leave that loose for now, leave it supported. I'll do everything else and tighten it up, but I don't have the right nuts for the drop links right now. Whilst the car's up on the stands and the wheels are still off, I'm going to get the front bumper off and take a look at the front mount intercooler. So here is my new one. And it actually is built pretty damn well. Nice stepped intercooler. From what I have seen, this is quite a lot bigger than the stock one, but we'll have a look. Once that bumper's off, we'll compare side by side the two. All of the lower clips were missing from the bumper, which is a little bit frustrating considering this has so much main dealer history. It does make you wonder sometimes, unfortunately, with some people's workmanship. That being said, the T25 screws, I know there's only 4 of them, but they were there. With that front bumper now removed, you can see the stock intercooler, and it is tiny compared to this larger one that we now have. So let's get that off and have a look at it. So here is the size comparison between the two. I mean, quite substantial, and obviously looking straight down, it's a lot thicker this way, obviously the stock one, but then it's stepped. Hopefully it should just fit straight to the OEM mounts on the car. Let's give it a go. Now, considering it was a cheap one, it wasn't too bad. I cut the top bracket off to allow it to fit underneath that crash bar, which I have seen other videos, so that hasn't really surprised me. It is very close to hitting on the little crash support at the bottom, or that little brace bar, but it isn't quite touching, it's just skimming it. I had to file away a little bit of the plastic trim to allow for the hose to connect through onto the fixing of the intercooler this side. Which I have also seen on other videos as well. It's definitely no Forged Motorsport or AirTech intercooler, but for the price of it, the quality, it looks brilliant, so can't knock it. A little bit of trimming on the inside of the bumper is probably going to have to happen as well. I'll dummy fit it up in a minute and have a little look. So I'm going to use the multi-tool and just trim the edge of the honeycomb on the back face just to squeeze in a little bit more clearance. Hopefully this bumper will fit perfectly. So that is the bumper just loosely on for now. It is now fitting, or it will fit perfectly, and it's quite nice. Being black with no markings on, it is stealthy. You wouldn't know at first glance there's a larger intercooler in there, which is just what I wanted. Right, I finally have some nuts, so let's get them onto those drop links. They best be the right ones. Mint. Another little visual thing is on the wheels, the little caps in the centre have just gone pickled, corroded, where water's just got underneath them. So I've just got some fresh ones to put on. So there's the old one, all nasty, and then here's a new one to go on. So I've got all 4 to do. So I'll just pop them on, so then it looks a little bit fresher when this all goes back together. In line with the valve caps, little things, but yeah, nice and level, looking lovely. Now let's get the wheels on, get it off the axle stands, and let's just check the fitment so far in terms of height, and I'm hoping I don't need wheel spacers. Oh, you're joking me. No way. It does not fit. No. Okay, so I've got a hold up here. I do need a spacer. I've fitted the wheel on and it is just touching the edge of this collar. I'll just do a little hub centric spacer, and I reckon just a 5mm spacer will be enough just to clear that. Now that we've got added camber and the body is a little bit thicker, it's just causing it to rub. Right, so that is all 4 wheels on, loosely for now, dry fit. I know the clearance on the front is good, but let's get it off the axle stands and then check that ride height. That is the fronts down, albeit on a brake disc at the moment, just to allow for the clearance to get the jack out the front without crushing the radiator in the front mount. And safe to say, I've been very cautious so far. I know the back is not down yet, so it may affect it slightly, but yeah, it's definitely going to need adjustment. And then on the rear, got quite a lot of tuck here on the top, but also I do want to bring that down ever so slightly. So basically all I've done is taken the front wheel off, and then I've just measured 25 is on those threads there, and then I've just marked them up, and then I'm just going to adjust the collar now. Right, second adjustment on this. Let's hope this gap is a little bit better now. Ooh, not bad, but it needs more. Right, let's see what the difference is now I've adjusted it. Let's drop the jack down. Hopefully we're somewhere pretty close. So that is the ride height set for now. I do have quite a bit of gap on the top, which I'm not too happy with. So we got a 5mm spacer in at the moment. I think from my measurements, a 15mm spacer would be the one to get that really sat quite nicely on the arch there. So I am going to order up a 15mm spacer for the front. And then in regards to the rear, same again. I think a 15mm spacer. This has no spacer at the moment, just the standard fit. But I think the 15 would bring that out nicely. I may end up lowering the rear ever so slightly more, but for now I'm just going to leave it at that. So those spacers should be with me in a couple of days. So for now I'm going to start doing some polishing on this car. With some feedback online, I am now going to try a microfiber wool pad. So this should cut a little bit more than the foam pad. So same compound but with a more aggressive pad. Hopefully, if I'm careful, I should get a few more scratches out. The doors are really swirly when I get my light on them. And the bonnet also has some pretty nasty spots as well. So I'm going to try and tackle those. So the new wheel spacers have arrived. So I've gone with 15mm front and rear. So I'll get those on shortly, and then let's drop it down and get the final adjustments, and hopefully the stance and fitment should look pretty damn good. Fuck yeah. Yes! So here's before with the 5mm spacer, and now with the improved 15mm spacing. So much better. So this is the rear with the spacer. Let's see what this looks like. Bear in mind before it was just standard, no spacers at all. So it's quite a jump, but I'm hoping this should sit flush. Maybe ever so slightly too much poke. So the rear is certainly just a little bit more flush. It's pretty much bang on with the liner. Now the rear definitely does need to come down a little bit more to match the level of the fronts. So I will get it outside and measure again once it's settled down, because this floor's not level in here. So a little bit of tweaking to the rear is going to be needed. I'm hoping once that is a little bit lower, it will look a little bit better, because right now I'm not too set on that. How good does this thing look? I've got it on the best level ground I can find here on the farm, and I absolutely love it. So I know with a bit more adjustment, this thing will look even better. With the car outside as well, the 15mm spacer on the back actually does work really well. That first one when I put it on, I was like, oh God, it was too pokey. But now it's all down and on better surface, it does work really well actually. So trust the process, it's going all right. So that is the Mini done for now. Give or take 10 hours later, I've now finished washing and detailing this car. Whew. Multi-stages of paint correction on the car. It's had various coatings from waxes to ceramic coatings on the wheels. All the trims have been done as well, so it is looking really glossy and wet. I don't know if you can see from here, the light's just beaming off it. It looks lovely. Off to caffeine and machining this tomorrow, so there should be some really nice stuff there, and hopefully this thing behaves. I cannot wait to get an MOT on it, and then that downpipe as well, and in for a remap. As always, thank you very much for watching these videos. A few more bits and exciting videos to do on this car, along with the Volvo next door, which needs a little bit of love. If you're new to the channel, check out a few of my other videos and my shorts. Give us a like and a follow. Subscribing to the channel would be brilliant as well, so thank you very much. As always, stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.